housed. Thank you. There's a very good reason why we chose QTS to be the location where this instrumentation is going to sit. First of all, it provides, yes, there's a lot of security, but it provides unfettered access to everyone across the state to be coming here to QTS. We deliberately chose not to have this within VCU so that it is truly seen as a shared resource. The second thing, of course, is it's in the center of the Commonwealth. And finally, most importantly, if you look at where QTS is, and you all are aware, all the transatlantic cables run proximal to the QTS. So this, in that sense, is a perfect location. And we hope through much of what is going to happen with Dr. Milos manages leadership and the entire working groups and the other technical groups and other groups that will be formed in the coming months and weeks, and you'll be hearing more from him, to create the opportunity to move the technology forward and to harness this technology forward, and so that Virginia truly can address the fundamental needs that are required in this space. So in closing, before I turn it over, I just want to thank Dr. Manich for all the amazing work he and Bob Dahlberg have done in terms of the moving the equipment here, the hardware here, for all the necessary elements that went into the contract procurement and software purchase and all kinds of things that have gone into it, and really bringing all the partners together. I can't stress enough how important that is for the success of CCAC. And also I want to acknowledge the leadership at VCU that have been instrumental in supporting the leadership at the College of Engineering. Skandarian is here, and our provost and other people, and our government relations. And you'll be hearing more from Matt Conrad, our VP for Government Relations, who will talk a little bit of why, from a state perspective, this is so important. So with that said, I'm truly, truly excited of the opportunity this is going to lend itself in identifying the research areas and building partnerships and synergies, and truly the linkages in the Commonwealth to make things happen. And I know IBM is looking forward to that, and we have folks from America and other places. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to Milos.
Dr. Rao, thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you to VCU leadership for everything they've done. I've done incredibly a lot. Agenda goes as follows. We have a very busy, was intended to be an hour. We'll have a reflection on the history by Dr. David Hale on the Charles of Commonwealth Center for Advanced Logistics. I will try to summarize what has happened in the last 8-9 months. We'll move on to capabilities of machines. Dennis Stoll, Vice President for IBM Z-Systems Ecosystem, will be speaking from San Diego. And our hero, Bob Dahlberg, Bob Wade. Bob actually has a very expensive house. He lives here. We'll be talking about what he has done. And we'll go to use case scenarios. We'll speak a few minutes about various activities that we have started or planning to start, and do the closing by Matt Conrad with a little bit of reflection on the importance of this effort. After that, we will do a photo op. We'll do a little bit here, and then we'll do ribbon cutting at the cage, and we'll go through. We'll take tours of maybe 7, 8 to 10 people to get a tour of the facility and of our machine we are so proud of. Without further ado, Dr. David Hale.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is David Hale. I serve as a dean of the College of Engineering and Technology at Virginia State University. And I also serve as interim vice provost for academic affairs. I didn't know what you were about to say before I put together some slides, but thank you, because now I can skip some of the slides because you already said those things. So Miloš asked me to briefly talk about where we were, where we started, and how we get here. So this is just to give you some perspective of how all these things come about, and also to give you a context when we get here. So with that in mind, I'm not going to, since he gave me 3 minutes to speak about 3 years, it's a year per minute. I will be very brief. I'm going to give you a sequence of events that led to this. I'm not going to do the whole detail or the drama or the politics. There were some, So I'm going to start by telling you that the whole thing started. Well, first of all, 12 years ago, when the Commonwealth Center for Advanced Logistics System, this is one of the center of excellence like CCAM, CCI, and others. Did I do something? No. There was a 90 million vote that was set aside for construction of research facility for CCALs. This was similar to the one that CCAM has, but there is a condition associated with that, and that is provided that CCALs grow in terms of membership. Now, when you look at the two, the Commonwealth Center for Advanced Manufacturing, CCAM and CCALs, they share common university members. These are ODU, UVA, VCU, and VSU. And CCALs, which was formed a year after CCAM, was created under the image of CCAM. The two consortium have similar governance structure as well as this membership model. They live on generating resources from members. And they work obviously benefiting the members in terms of the challenge that they have, whether it's manufacturing or logistics. Let me see, Miloš, how do you go? Oh. And here are, CCAL's partner. By the way, speaking of CCALs, we have here in the audience the Honorable Karen Jackson. She's going to probably share with you a little bit about what we do, maybe in one aspect. But the CCAL partners are the 5 member institutions, and also VEDP as a strong supporter of this consortium, support of Virginia, critical planning, and of course the champ. But why did we come up? The Commonwealth of Virginia, there is that advantage when it comes to logistics, the multimodal crossroad and the educated workforce, and also the fact that within 750 miles of the Commonwealth, find two-thirds of the US population. So that access is a compelling reason for Virginia to be and should be a leader in futures of logistics. And how CCALs help in terms of fulfilling this? Well, pull together its research faculty, within the 5 universities, the students, undergraduate, graduate, postdocs, in the different areas, critical areas, to support the logistic challenge that the different sectors in Virginia have. We probably need to help me on it. All right, so fast forward. In late 2020, there was a proposal that was initiated to repurpose that bond money, the 90 million that I told you, to do a couple of things, to pay for the outstanding mortgage loan that CCAM has for the UVA Foundation, and then in the meantime, co-locate the two organizations under the same facility, and then acquire with the rest of the money, acquire HPC to improve the computing, just like Dr. Rao mentioned, power of the member universities, as well as serving other countries. Well, this proposal was presented to the board of CCAC, and as you may imagine, this is resource taking from one organization to help another one. So this issue was a bit contentious, a little bit, the discussion that goes in the board was a bit spirited, vigorous. But at the end, the board members were able to see what Dr. Rao mentioned, the benefit, especially in acquiring such kind of source asset, would benefit us to enhance collaboration, to also create a new pathway, innovative pathway for our students, for strategic engagement, and others. In particular, you can see here, such a resource could help address the need that this member institution have for highly advanced open access computing tool. It helped attract advanced digital tech companies to the Commonwealth. It helps to close, to minimize the digital divide, especially when it comes to rural as well as underrepresented communities. It helps enhance collaboration among the researchers in member institutions, because this is, as you say, a common asset that everyone can access. And also, even the existing collaborative program like CCI, CCAM, CyberRay, the talent, the TTIP, it enhances the work of those institutions. So with that in mind, the board unanimously support the proposal. Consequently, the proposal was presented to the legislators for approval. And in 2021, the General Assembly, in a special budget session, agreed to provide the 12 million for CCAM, but the remaining amount, which is 7 million, for acquisition and installation, as some conditions. The conditions were, top of the member institutions, CCALs, to develop a plan on how we're going to use such asset. And also the plan shall identify guidelines to ensure that the partnership continue and actually enhance and extend to others, not only to these member institutions, but the other entities like CCI, Cyber Range, and so on. And that the work group or whatever entity that respond to this present a report by December 1, 2021. After that, the fund would be released. And the report was submitted, and consequently in 2022, the General Assembly approved the release of the fund, and that was later used to acquire the devices that we now have. So, as Dr. Rao earlier mentioned, you may think that the whole thing is over once we acquire the asset, but not. Why? Because the approved amount covers only the procurement and installation, nothing there for all the operational cost. So that's where the leadership of Milosh and, as Dr. Raos, yes, but no, you deserve to have that recognition, and also the support of administration came about in finding the resource that we need at this junction to pay for the lease and to bring the machine to home at QTS. So one milestone is over in terms of succeeding bringing this machine to the place where it should be, and a new phase began. And the real work now starts in solving long-term challenge that consists of sustainability. Obviously, how do we go about continuing to pay for hosting, for software, for staff, What about setting organizational structure around that is going to make sure that this is going to be a sustainable effort? Setting or crafting policy for accessibility, making sure that we stay true to the original purpose of this shared resource and to go beyond and to leverage this common asset and use outcome to build more, which means the scale up of, I know that, I exceeded the time, but I'm excited, just like Dr. Rao said, it is a tool that is going to unite us. In particular, I was speaking to the provost earlier. As an HBCU, I see this tool to open a door, especially for a small institution like us, Marymount is here, that we may not on ourselves be able to acquire. So to that extent, I can commit myself here as being a partner in crime with Milosh. Thank you for listening to me.
Well, here we are. We have a machine at QTS. Words about it. It features Telum chip, which claim of fame is AI, real-time drug detection. For those in AI, data science, business, we know that we are at the time when we can learn pretty much anything given enough data and time. But the problem lies in real-time AI-driven decision. And that requires very specialized, very singular type of equipment that we finally actually have. Another claim of fame here is it's extremely reliable in mission critical applications. That's highly critical. The Z15 featured 7 nines, and those in reliability world will translate that easily to about 3 seconds per year being down. That machine never goes down. You will see on most of our slides in red, shared research, shared ownership for safe and secure AI. We're trying to distinguish ourselves by focusing on what's coming in the world, and that's AI is all over the world in all kinds of applications, all times in our life. We need AI for real-time decision-making that is safe and secure, and this machine, this resource is really meant to be shared resource for all Virginia. Very briefly, the idea is that this will not compete with individual APCs, individual units, academic or industry. It is something that complements those units, and it's something poised to be a glue for all such equipment to be used in research, in teaching, workforce development. I will skip what Dr. Hale was addressing relative to conditions for approving funds. We are past that, we are moving on. We have made the decision to host this beast of a machine, QTS, which sits on major transatlantic cables, which really is the reason why many people refer to Virginia as a Silicon Valley. That decision is not only technically sound, it's also perception-wise very important that it's located in central Virginia, equally accessible for all of our consortium partners. Features high level physical security, multiple redundancy in terms of internet connections, which is needed for such mission critical resource. As illustration, Supreme Court of Virginia has their servers here and many other. My role as a director of CCAC is also to update you on what has been done in terms of financial part. This is the order of purchase orders executed. The initial funding was 6.88 million. The acquisition price of the machine was 2.945. From what we understand, the market price, if we were a company, would have been more like $20 million. Thankfully, the VCU leadership helped us make a step without which none of this would be happening, and that is help us with cost of hosting for a certain period of time. Then we moved on to phase number 3 with 5 purchase orders. I'm not going to go into details. And the last one executed in October, software licenses was about a little over $300,000 for a certain number of license seats for next 3 years. At this time, we have $2.28 million remaining, which Workgroup will be deciding on where to go, what to go with, and so on. So we have many things that we understand and we'll be continuing. We have many steps ahead of us, but this is a very brief overview. Jason, yes, go ahead.
What do you think is the useful life of the computer itself, the Z16?
Len?
And what do you mean by useful life?
15 years, 20 years, 5 years? We're funded for a certain number of years, and I'm just trying to understand. I want to understand basically 3 things. What is the availability for defense intelligence customers? Who's doing the business development for the utilization of the machine? And then what's the business plan on 3 to 7 years from now? And so,
See some details, but today we unfortunately really want to just do a big overview.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
And then form groups where we will be drilling down on.
So we're gonna match that, figure out what the schedule would be for replacing equipment over time,
Yep.
so that we could budget that in the future. But Len can tell you about this system.
Let me answer it this way. But there's, I think I know some of the people in the audience are at different parts of their careers. Z was announced April 7th, 1964. Next year will be its 60th anniversary. Everybody that had Z's in 1964 are able to run and execute all the programs that they developed at that time
On the
onto the present day. The commitment IBM had made at that time was that whenever they came out with a new mainframe, they would always make sure that everything that anybody invested in those years past would always be compatible upward, and it has never failed. So there will be, I can tell you that there will be a Z17, there will be a Z18, there will be a Z19, there will be a Z20. I don't think I'm gonna be around at that time, but you're able to upgrade through there without worrying, except now you'll be able to do a lot more things with your code and your applications that you won't be able to, because there'll be new functionality and so on.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
That maybe gives you a better feel for, because you'll probably upgrade this within the next 2, 3, 4 years, I would say, because the new machines technology never stops, it keeps advancing so fast.
So if I can interject then, the Z16 was the first to have the Telum chips, which I saw in the lab probably 6 years ago. And, wow, I'll cover that. So IBM just announced the North Pole chip about 4 weeks ago. That runs at 25 megahertz. They broke the 5 megahertz line. And it doesn't need to be cooled. It can run up at, it's much smaller, and it runs at a temperature of 140 degrees centigrade, or Fahrenheit, I mean. So, if you want the newest and greatest, figure out about 5 years from now, we might want to, kind of invest. Now, the difference is just this last year, IBM announced that we don't have to buy that big cabinet anymore. We can buy, they now have the mainframe as a rack mounted system.
So in interest of time,
Yeah, sure.
this is
So
excellent.
anyway, that just gives you a little glimpse of the future.
But we have a Ferrari in the house. Let's drive.
Yeah, let's get this running.
This is a quick overview of about 70+ people across the state, including academia, industry, EDOs, nonprofit, et cetera, that are interested and the list keeps on growing. I just wanted to deal with that. The title here is From Pallets to Blinking Lights, and this is what really happened in a extremely short period of time by a small group of people. We are very excited that we got this far in such a short period of time, but the real work will begin now. I will illustrate on where we are, or where are we, as a question. In June, top 500, a website listed top 10 supercomputing resources around the world, and Oak Ridge is somewhere here, the fifth one, and it is Power 9 as part of their supercomputing power. We have 3 Power 10s. This really means that really these are national labs and similar kind around the world institutions. Really, no university consortium has anything remotely close by. That's a great thing. That's also a challenge. No university currently owns anything like this. It requires funding, it requires work, it requires support. So our main goal right now, one of the top goals, is sustainability, which will entail further support in terms of IP, licensing, operating costs, etc. Now, next steps, as we envision, we have given a number of reports planning on doing that. This is the biggest event so far we've done, in-person kickoff. We're planning IBM workshop where we will go through use case scenarios. We'll talk about capabilities and simply broaden the stakeholder community. That's coming next year. The tactical items. We really need to have a innovation governance model that will entail different types of committees. One would be a higher level or director, another might be technical, and another one will be IT, which we will be doing onboarding of IT soon. We want to demonstrate the economic impact created by this model because remember, this is a machine and machines do age, but our enthusiasm is the real value here. Our group at the level of Virginia is what really important. We want to create a defined use case for AI, cybersecurity, quantum, hybrid cloud. We want to establish reporting and metrics targets, identify, pursue funding sources. And right now we are working on several Go Virginia proposals, but not limited. Speaking of involvement, my students here will distribute 2 forms. If you trust me enough, this is by the way a big security QR code. If you trust me enough, you will click on this one, it'll open a Google form. There are 2 forms. One form is on member benefits and opportunities. This one has 7 items that we foresee immediately as area of interest for involvement. Computing needs as prescribed by General Assembly, the research, teaching, experiential learning, report development, job creation, hybrid cloud computing, and then CCAC operating, business plan, business development, incubator, startups, and many more. And we do provide how else you feed it. The other one is these are the representative audiences. And consider volunteering 1 or 2 IT personnel that will work with us, help us architect new stages of this equipment and get your institution enabled to connect and use our equipment. So there's 2 forms, fill feel free to fill them out now, moving online, any which way. We need to grow this participation and get your involvement. I'll let you slide that has the title Tremendous Opportunity. We are in so many ways a product of the architecture worldwide. Again, no consortium. Big companies may have machines like this, but no consortium, no statewide effort like this one. We have opportunity working with IBM. We have opportunity experiential learning for students, people, skilling, focusing on AI, cybersecurity, safety, AI. We also have a wonderful opportunity running a sandbox for economic development. These are screenshots from the DDP report from August, talking about America's East Coast Tech Hub, which really this area is. It displays all the data centers in our area, and we are the lead currently national. It shows the value of sitting on high-speed transatlantic cables connected to the rest of the world. And talks about us, Virginia, being a strategic location for global connectivity. With this, I would end my brief report of intense 8-9 months. Big thanks goes to Bob, who, as I've said, moved. Yeah. And I will end with a little joke when Albert Einstein met Charlie Chaplin. Albert Einstein said, "What I admire most about your art is universality. You do not say a word, and yet the world understands you." Charlie Chaplin says, "It's true, but your fame is even greater. The world admires you when nobody understands you."
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you very much. The next will be Meredith Stovall from San Diego, Vice President of IBM Z Systems Ecosystem. Meredith, I hope you can hear us. You're welcome to share the screen if you like, or just speak.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for letting me be here today. Hopefully you can hear me. I don't have any charts, so it'll just be me speaking. It is great. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. So it really is great. It really is great to be here with you. My name is Meredith Stoll, and while I live in San Diego, I do still have my 703 cell phone number from my time in Northern Virginia. So I lead our IBM Z and Linux One ecosystem partnerships and our skills programs. I also have the privilege of working not only with partners, but also our global clients to understand challenges and how a vibrant ecosystem of partners, universities, open source community can really come together and innovate solutions. So what we're seeing today is businesses around the world are facing vast uncertainties, whether it's macroeconomic tensions, geopolitical risks, competitive markets, regulatory constraints, cyber threats. Cyber threats continue to be top of mind. In fact, according to an IBM study, the cost of a data breach in 2022 had risen to $4.35 million, and it may have gone up once they take a look at 2023. And 83% of those organizations that were surveyed, they've suffered more than one breach. So businesses across industries really need that comprehensive approach to protecting data and applications and ensuring privacy. Now, we've also seen an increase in demand for IT services. Digital transformation, the COVID pandemic, they have had a profound impact. 2020 saw a 40% increase in internet traffic, and according to a recent report, data volumes are expected to grow 2 to 3 times by 2025. But as well as growth in these volumes, we're seeing huge unanticipated fluctuation in demand. So it's become essential that companies' infrastructure of choice can not only scale, but how can we leverage this technology to scale on demand to meet these ever-changing needs? Also, in these times of uncertainty, it's technology and leveraging the most out of today's innovations like AI that can be a deflationary force. So fortifying on that resilient digital foundation really can prepare businesses to tackle these uncertainties. Now we've heard a little bit hybrid cloud, cyber threats, digital transformation. You know, these things have absolutely dominated the IT discussions for the last few years. And while they remain very important, they've been joined by sustainability from an environmental perspective, as a new priority for businesses. There are more than 2,500 climate laws and policies worldwide. So it's no surprise that in a recent IBV study, CEOs put sustainability as the #1 challenge that they're facing over the next 2 to 3 years. So imagine the innovations that we can have in this space. Now, IBM's research, it's also shown that while 85% of businesses have a sustainability strategy, only 35% have acted on it. So for many businesses, the impact of IT on their sustainability goals is a key area of focus. Data centers use around 200 to 250 terawatt hours of electricity a year. That's around the same usage as the whole of Australia. And that usage just continues to increase as demands on IT grow. So one way to help this and one way to address it is more efficient IT infrastructure. The IBM Z16 is one of the most powerful enterprise servers available. It's designed to run hundreds, even thousands of workloads, all on a single system. And it's this design point that enables higher levels of efficiency than alternative platforms. So it helps to reduce the carbon footprint, and in some cases by 75%. But what sits at the heart of transforming businesses, driving resiliency, growth, performance, is its people, a skilled, growth-minded workforce, like the graduates that are coming out of the Virginia universities today. In addition, it's also creating that differentiated digital-first experience, but once again, underpinned with a flexible business architecture, because one size does not fit all. So as companies continue on their cloud journey, many are adopting hybrid cloud, the hybrid cloud strategy. And that's for various reasons. It could be because of data sovereignty requirements, SLAs, resiliency, security, cost, but leveraging that flexibility of both private and public cloud, along with fit-for-purpose infrastructure. In fact, nearly 8 in 10 IT decision makers envision their organizations using hybrid multi-cloud or purely private cloud environments. And in fact, nearly half of them see hybrid multi-cloud as that long-term solution. So hybrid cloud being that combination of on-prem and off-prem, and multi-cloud being multiple public clouds. And it's these businesses that really master hybrid cloud and balancing those right workloads with the right platform, taking advantage of the cloud native agility, the consumption models that are available across all of these platforms, including the Z16. These can really gain that flexibility to innovate while also improving efficiency and resiliency. Now, IBM, it's a leader. We are a leader in secure infrastructure, confidential computing. It provides protection against both internal and external threats. It protects data at rest, in flight, and in use. And even if privileged credentials are compromised, the data remains protected. Now, we're also continuously delivering new innovations, such as those that we're seeing in the IBM Z16. For example, the Telum processor that we've been talking about, it delivers up to 200 cores, and it features the on-chip AI acceleration to enable that real-time insights at scale. This was one of the areas that was identified by our clients a number of years ago when we were working with them to determine what are some of the innovations that are needed in this space. They weren't having a challenge with the data modeling. They weren't having a challenge creating the models or training those models, but where the challenges were actually implementing in production those models at scale. And that's what that Telum chip enables, 100% scoring without impact to SLA. So we've taken protection and privacy also to a whole new level with the introduction of industry-first quantum safe technologies, all while helping to build a sustainable infrastructure. So this platform, it continues to run the most mission-critical workloads around the world. As a matter of fact, 70% of all global transactions from a value perspective originate from IBM Z. So just imagine what we can do with AI-infused capabilities. So I look forward to the innovations that are going to come out of this center and the incredible skills to really fuel our future. So thank you so much once again for having me here today. I am really excited by this initiative and being a part of it. Thanks. I'm sorry, we can't hear you. I don't know.
Again, we love to see.
Okay.
There we go.
Here's now.
Harris?
Yep, now I can, I think.
Excellent. So thank you very much, Meredith. We are running a little bit behind. Next speaker will be, thank you very much, Bob, Meredith, again. Bob will speak about some numbers, some specific relative to what is installed right now and running. Bob, the podium is yours.
Waiting for them to give me the slides here.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Traditionally, I started out, I have a long lecture, but I'm gonna skip that and go right.
Yes, you can.
Notice here, I've got BSU as a partner. I went out there to set up our first data center was in Pocahontas. That didn't work out. We went to BSU. I started working with them, and the enthusiasm there was just, I mean, it was great. And actually, if you know the book Hidden Figures, that was the mainframe that got us to the moon. A number of the people who were in Hidden Figures are graduates, alumni of VSU. So they have a legacy of.
That was cool. Oh, okay, good.
But one of the advantages of this, the Telum chips and the mainframe is we have one server with banks of processors and storage. This means we can optimize the utilization of the processing power and the storage. Whereas instead of having a bunch of racks of individual servers where we have different VMs, once those systems on those VMs on that system, the rest of the CPU is processing power is wasted. This is a little different there. I'm going to skip the rest of that. I've worked on, at my career, 20 years, I worked on these systems exclusively. The rest of my career, I worked on infrastructure because I wanted to see how everything together. And of course, if you know, everything is siloed, right? And the hybrid cloud, when I found out 6 years ago that he was doing this, I became very interested in this. We can operate this thing seamlessly. We can talk to quantum, we can talk to AI, we can talk to Windows systems, Linux systems, and Z systems from a single logout. So that's the beauty of this system. You look at all the Oak Ridge National Laboratory and some of the other systems, you see a lot of siloed systems, right? Different types of systems. We want to integrate this together so we can take advantage of the power. We know that quantum computers, they're going to need classical computers in order to translate and feed the quantum computer. So they need to have the same hybrid cloud infrastructure to work with. So I call this 21st century state-of-the-art cloud computing as opposed to the old server farms. I'll keep going quick. This is the corridor of the South Atlantic things. So anyway, this is what we make up of. So we've got the hybrid cloud here. We got Telum chips in it. We are one of the first systems that got this. A year ago, it was delivered. So we were one of the first. I saw it in the lab, and I think Tom Rosamilia, first vice president of IBM, invited me out to Silicon Valley to the Alameda thing. I saw the Telum chip in the lab. That night at the cocktail party, he said, can I share your architecture with other people? We think that this concept for universities is unique. And I said, well, I'd be glad to do that, but I want that Telum chip that's available. So that's where we got that. So we basically, the components here is we've got the hybrid cloud. We have 5 cores in there. We're starting out small. We can build up into 200 cores in this system. So basically, we got one GP, which is running ZOS stuff. We're gonna be using ZVM as our procurement thing, along with OpenShift. The 5 IFLs, those are gonna run the Linux systems, right? Now, we can build up as we go. We didn't wanna do is buy a lot of expensive equipment and find out no one wanted to use it. So we have room for 200 in there. We've got storage, the ESS and the flash. This is to share the same data across multiple systems. The DS8910, this is to run stuff to translate for the mainframe and the hybrid cloud, the Z systems, because they have a little different architecture in there. So the idea here is the ESS, which is the shared, its capacity is 196 terabytes. That's 1 petabyte once it's compressed. And of course, we may want to buy, if we start doing the human genome and stuff, I think the minimums, they're saying they wanted 6 petabytes. We can buy an ESS 6,000 to put in there, and that's 3 petabytes right there. Then we've got the Power 10s. The Power 10s are like, DoD Z is an aircraft carrier. It has to have a fleet around it. We don't want to spend a lot of processing power doing infrastructure. So like things like our Radius server, our LDAP server, and some of our other exterior things will be on the Power 10s, but we can also use the Power 10s for research as well, because a lot of people are used to that. We've got 3 of them, and they're also running Telum chips. One of the advantages of, again, the hybrid cloud is that we can create hybrids, clouds in here. And again, we're bringing in other systems. So we can help bring together different systems. So if you're running an HPC somewhere in your university, but you also want to use some of the power here, the hybrid cloud is managing those hybrid clouds. We can set you up a system to where you can log on to that, use these systems and your systems as well. As a matter of fact, we talked to Virginia cyber branch, and their expenditure is like $2 million a year to just run it on AWS, and it gets more expensive every year. What we're planning on doing is bringing in AWS into our system, running their stuff, but then over time we can migrate to our stuff, but we could the Z, but the Z also offers us ability to do things you can't do with AWS, like kernel programming. We can build infrastructure. We can do forensics, things that and actually teach provisioning. These are things that are not in AWS's model. We looked at AWS first and went to them, and they basically said, you got to work with our model. We're not going to let you in. Look at the curtain. So I'm just going to show you a little bit how it works. One of the advantages of the Telum chip is that we have storage here, and we'll have service catalog, data catalog, user storage and stuff. But the Telum chips process here, and what's going to happen is as you do it, the Telum processor processes programs, but if there's an IO interrupt, if you know about processors, that takes up a lot of time on the processor. Well, the Telum chips have an IO accelerator, so IO doesn't matter, because once it has a problem, it generates off to the IO accelerator, and it deals with all the IO, and when it's done, that program gets controlled and off you go. So IO problems aren't a problem. That's not taking up processing power. Same thing with encryption. Encryption is same type of thing. When an encryption interrupt happens, that's CPU intensive. They got encryption chips on there that are coded just with the algorithms on there, so they run very quickly. And again, the Telum chip also has AI processors with simpler called flow and artificial neural networks. So I'm going to skip this stuff. This is some of how it works. I'll be glad to cover this, but I'm beginning the slide here. So I'm going to tell you what's been going on so far. So on starting October 5th, I started living here. This is when we moved the mainframe here, and we had the SSR from IBM in, and we started hooking the thing up. We had to fill it with water because these things are water cool, are liquid, special type of water. Bob Weaver started at the 5th. The last PO was issued on the 5th as well. The 6th it was approved and it went through. So that was our last purchase order. And we needed to do that because our licenses were up for all the systems. We then spent the next couple of weeks installing the Z16, configuring it, loading up the new firmware and all that type of stuff. That all happened during this time. We're also starting to rack things. So then the network guys came out on October 30th. We racked all the network equipment. We got that and we started working on that. That was the real bear. We just finished getting the network to VPN to it for the administrators. So now we can start multitasking on the system. So we just finished that. Next steps, we're starting Tuesday. We're going to start configuring the Z for loading it up and starting putting operating systems on it and starting creating the LPARs and the separate hybrid clouds, because we can come up with as many hybrid clouds as we want. And get the Power 10s going. Then probably in December, January, we'll start configuring the infrastructure. In other words, on the Power 10s, we got to load the support middleware to support this, like the LDAP server and the Radius server. Then we'll start in January, February, starting really to define the hybrid clouds and the policies around it. Now, each hybrid cloud, depending upon how we configure it, will run at an eval 5, if you're familiar with the common criteria, which is one of the highest you can get. So even though they're in the same box, they will look like they're the same thing. So then we'll start building the service catalog and start enabling remote access for users. Then we'll do the beta testing and then general availability by fall of next year. So that's our plan there. What I really need is people who I can talk to. I talk to management people. I can only understand half of what you're saying to me. Because I get the benefit going from down below up to the level. So a lot on my mind. I need I need objectivity, because I'm encountering my ignorance every day of these things. I've learned probably more than in the last 9 weeks. I've learned more than I've learned in the last 6 years. Yes, we need your help. I need to, and thanks to Mike Davis and Lynn Sanalagia and people from Cisco, and my sanity by double checking, especially just let me go back to work on some IT people. So thanks again.
Thank you very much. BCU VP Government Relations will address us. Unfortunately, he needs to go to General Assembly, so.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Matt Conrad. I'm Vice President for Government and External Affairs, UNVC Health System. You have to leave shortly. Believe it or not, the General Assembly begins in less than 5 weeks. And so I've got pre-session meetings in Richmond beginning at 12:30. I've been working with the General Assembly for 25 years. I've been in higher education for less than that, only about more than 10 years. And believe it or not, no surprise to anyone in this room, we have a bit of a reputation in higher education for competition. And whenever I'm before a policymaker, I always try to spin that positively. So in my faith tradition, we say things like iron sharpens iron. It's actually it's a beautiful thing. We have such diverse institutions be able to compete against one another because we improve each other through that process. But since we're all in higher education here, and I'm sort of speaking to the family, I'll say the other acknowledged side of that competition is the perception, sometimes real, of siloization, of creating sandboxes where we don't share with our colleagues. And oftentimes, and this is a dangerous thing from a policy standpoint, a higher education funding standpoint for policymakers, is redundancy. And so while we're talking about use cases in this setting, this is really a tremendous opportunity for me a practical use case of higher educational collaboration to the folks who are in charge of funding our operations at our respective institutions. And, you know, we don't have the luxury of not being able to succeed in this instance. We have to succeed in this particular collaboration because it is, I think, probably the only way that we are going to collectively open the door for more support from policymakers, the state, federal, even sub-state levels. So, you know, I met yesterday with state budget leadership. We are, believe it or not, after years of tremendous revenue exceeding revenue forecasts, we're in a place where the Commonwealth is suddenly preparing to grapple with the fact that revenues are not going to meet the current expenses. And so for us to be able to command their attention and derive the benefit of increasingly limited resources, we need to be able to share use cases like CCAC. And so I'm tremendously excited about the potential work out of today. And I look forward to sharing our successes with policymakers at the state and local level. So thank you all for your work. It's tremendously important and very much appreciated. Thank you.
I'd like to give a moment to Honorary Secretary Karen Jackson to address us relative to platform opportunity we have here.
Great to see some of your faces. It's such an exciting initiative. I am working with CCAC folks to try to figure out what the next generation of logistics looks like. It's not just Patty's logistics or the world is, technology is changing, the way everybody is doing this. To have this kind of capability, I'll echo what Matt said about collaboration needs to be seamless. Everybody can work. One university feels like it's getting shorted or slighted or it's just got to work. And so as we start to look, we consider not just the organizations in Virginia that are associated with logistics. Who's talking about maritime logistics except for CCALs? You know, back with them, and they are looking at what they can protect. I see a lot of opportunity for this with them. Now that's a long week to go talk to a ship repair person about how they're going to use a C-40. They're not going to care what the numbers are. What they care about is how can it improve? How can it move ordering something to getting something more, you know, more effective, safer. And that's what CCAL going to move in a new direction. I think this is something I've seen. Secretary, I saw a lot of these things get stood up and a lot of them failed. So I think for everyone that got set up, there were probably 2 that started out but never made it into the ether. We've got CCI, we've got others, the cyber range, that have done very well. They've done that because they've been able to explain in English what they do and where the benefit is, so that the legislators can understand it, the administration can understand it, industry can understand it. And it's not just, isn't it cool that we can send these really big files and do all this really cool stuff that was just talked about? Bob, were you the one? Is that your name? Yeah, I'm sorry. That Bob was talking about? 80% of the people in the General Assembly building would be like, you're doing what with who? And the same thing on the front end. So I think the messaging, the business plan, all of those things, and being able to explain how this can change somebody's business, how that can change their life, the economic impact, is key. Because without that, it will become another, not that it's not an important research and education tool, no denying that that is certainly at the center of this, but it's industry relevance. We keep hearing people talk about industry relevant training for our students, direct job connections through internship, apprenticeships. That connection with industry has got to be there. Research for research sake is great on the cutting edge, but when you start talking to the Commonwealth legislators about where they invest their money, at the end of the day, that linkage between the industry and resources, programs like CCAL, CCAM, it's all about where that rubber meets the road, and that's that linkage. As I said, CCAL's has taken a little bit of a new turn. We've formed a business advisory council. Anybody that's here that would like to talk about that, happy to do that. We want input. We want companies to be engaged to inform curriculum. We want them to be engaged to inform internship opportunities, scholarly opportunities, capstone projects. If we're doing it just for ourselves, then we're not meeting the goal that the Commonwealth set for us. So tiny little commercial, we are currently conducting the Commonwealth's first benchmarking of supply chain and logistics. It is on the web. We'll happily send anybody that wants it, the QR code or the URL, the link to the survey. Why are we doing that? Because we go back to what the Commonwealth has said is important. The Blueprint 2030 from the Chamber mentions transportation and logistics. The Compete to Win, which is the governor's strategy for economic development, mentions transportation and logistics. And it is looking to CCALs and our partners, which DeWitt showed earlier, to be that organization to collect the data, to find out where the needs are, and to really drive that next generation of technology, of logistics, because if we're not moving ahead, we're falling behind. And so I'm happy to be a part of this. I'm looking forward to working with the group. All this started, I've been with CCALs, about 9 months to it, in a part-time capacity. And so very excited to be a part of this, very excited to see where this is going to go. But I see such applicability if we can make that bridge between industry and very powerful tool. But we got to make sure we get that middle part right. So thanks for having me. Appreciate the time. That was a little unscripted, but
On to use case scenarios, and I would encourage you while listening to think about others, or how can we reduce redundancy or use the intersection points to do more and push this to a next level. The first one, Gen Edge, Jeff. Well,
Just put it on?
you want to stay with this one?
Yes, that one. Great, thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Shook. I'm an advanced manufacturing engagement manager with Gen Edge. I'm not sure if you all have heard of Gen Edge before. We're part of the Manufacturing Extension Partnership in the Commonwealth. So we work with those customers, those people that we were just talking about, the manufacturers, and we support them in innovation, growth, and advanced manufacturing, and how could they be working on their supply chain and making improvements. Well, one of the things we submitted back in the summer was a DOE MESC, so the Manufacturing Energy Supply Chain. So how does that apply to AI and high-powered computing is the fact that using AI, machine learning, vision systems, sensors can make a manufacturing process much more efficient and faster, saving energy, materials, manpower, as we look at the constraints in our manufacturing. So we're going to be partnering with VCU, VSU, Virginia Tech, CCAM, ODU for a number of steps in bringing together the tools for Virginia manufacturers. And so, specifically here, we're looking at how that AI can help us down at that manufacturer level, utilize those tools, educate on how they can be implemented to help small and medium manufacturers. These guys have a lot of things going on from day to day. They don't have the time or the opportunity to think about investing in expensive tools or some of the analytics, but how can we get them there? How can we utilize that? So, part of that comes in with our partner network. We'd be looking across for digital twins, modeling and simulation, using these tools to meet that ends. So very quick and sweet.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Nice meeting everybody.
Next one will be Michael Karafotis with Bank of America. Michael, hope you can hear us, and if you'd like to share a screen, go ahead. Michael was with us until a few moments ago. Next one, how about cyber range? Dawn will present on.
Don't have to.
I'm Dawn Zimmer.
Yes, we.
Hi, I'm Dawn Zimmer. I'm actually representing Dane Scow, and I have absolutely nothing to do with advanced computing at Virginia Tech, but I am a member of the Division of IT, one of the executive directors there. And Dane and Dave Raymond both send their regrets. Okay, Dane's got COVID and Dave had another commitment. Yes, I can. Okay, no worries. Anyway, most of you probably know the cyber range was created in 2016 with funding from the Virginia state budget. We have do cloud hosted infrastructure for K-12 and college cybersecurity courses. There's about 300 high schools and colleges in the program, and they hit about 10,000 students per semester. The cyber range has virtual infrastructure, which is hosted in AWS public cloud, and we get a lot of really good deep discounted academic pricing from AWS, but it's still not a cost-effective solution for some of the cyber range kind of use cases, a lot of the one-time use cases. So Virginia Tech partnered with CCAC, and this is going to allow the cyber range to support courses that aren't suited for one of those things. Through the CCAC, we'll be supporting hundreds, perhaps thousands of students as they develop demand school skills, which is, from listening to this discussion this morning, one of the big benefits of this program and one of the objectives. We love the collaboration. It's great for us in terms of high performance computing initiatives and working with other Virginia institutions. Dane is a member of this work group, as I said, and thank you.
Thank you very much. The next use case scenarios by my old good friend, Joe Milton, CEO of CCAC.
Hi, thanks, everyone. Nice to meet you all or see you all again for those that we've already met. Just want to give a couple of examples. So at CCAM, we do a lot of work, and first of all, we're a nonprofit public-private partnership. We have about 30 industry members, 5 university members from Virginia that are all part of the consortium. Our goal is to take new technology developments, mature them to the point that industry can deploy them. Right, so we help bridge that valley of death, and so working with industry and university is how we execute that. To give a couple of ideas, maybe more of a practical sense as to where we see opportunities here that we think will be great. We're working on one program with VCU where we're actually 3D printing thermoelectric materials. How do you stack those up so that you're able to print those in a way in which you can optimize the efficiency of this product? And so being able to analyze that, not just from a modeling standpoint of the thermoelectric design, but also how do you actually model the manufacturing process? So we do a lot of bringing intelligence into manufacturing processes. And so in the same way, we're using a laser powder bed fusion or directed energy deposition additive manufacturing system. How can you actually demonstrate that you can build this part with the material quality that you need? And so we have a program with ORNL right now where, as part of the DOE's high performance for advanced manufacturing, and we're actually looking at refractory materials. This is really high temperature, hard to weld type materials where we're modeling the actual deposition so we can show that we can build this up in a defect-free manner. So to give you a quick example, there are so many parameters. The physics behind this are complex enough that to actually have a laser go through on a powder bed and travel about 1 inch, managing the full physics, that takes about 3 weeks to run that process. So how do you actually turn that where you can take that information and also go back and control a real-time process, which is done in less than a second? Right. And so those are some of the types of problems that we're looking at where you really need this computational capability, where we interface with the university partners to develop processing techniques that we can deploy in industry. So
thank you very much, John. Curtin, on behalf of CBOT, thank you.
I was told I had 3 minutes, so I prepared remarks. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin by expressing my profound gratitude to the Virginia State Legislature for their foresight in improving these funds, this venture, to IBM for, discounting that price, and for Dr. Milos Manic for extending this gracious invitation to speak to you today. For 25 years, the Council Exchange Board of Trade, you got a slide up there, has been at the forefront of inclusive societal industry research. Our focus has always been on the intersection of citizen benefits, governance, economic development, and the advancement of technology through entitlement reform. Our mission has been to bridge government silos, creating avenues that connect individual tech jobs, learning opportunities, and enhance government infrastructure. At the heart of CBOT's iterative research is a commitment to alignment through our unique partnership algorithms. We bring together academic institutions, government, industry, and communities who are dedicated to creating effective workforce systems. These systems are designed to connect human capital to high-demand ICT jobs and entrepreneurial opportunities. Today marks for us a pivotal moment that we announced a new, partnership, a new partnership with the Commonwealth Center of Advanced Computing. This collaboration brings the strength of our 65,000 US minority technology companies represented by CBOT into a vibrant new strategy. It's noteworthy to mention that but Virginia holds the largest amount of those technology companies. So the greater percentage of those technology companies are in Virginia. Our design-based industry-focused research framework evaluates how systems can best connect to improve the public good ecosystems. We believe the importance of workforce systems. And so the reason why I'm saying this, I'll go off script for a second. I was just appointed co-chair of the US Department of Commerce, National Institute of Standard Technology, Information Technology Laboratory, Applied Cybersecurity Division within the NICE working group for promoting cybersecurity. And so that co-chair, I'm 2 years within that co-chair, I'm gonna bring this into a use case within that ecosystem. So getting off script for a second, the statistics speaks for themselves. The 65,000 employees we represent verified the US Census accounts for $114 billion in gross revenue, 580,000 employees. We want to leverage this group within this technology to actually develop the use case. Now let's talk about these use cases. So CBOT is driven by a mission to provide our members with business value and enhance both profit and success. We have a varied group of membership from K-12, university, NGOs, of course, minority tech companies. The partnership will harness the power of IBM Z16, the innovation of IBM TLM chip, and the transferable capability of game-changing mainframe design. All right. Let's go to the end. So, because we've been doing all of these use cases for the last years, what we're wanting to do is to actually bring this as a platform as a service within the HBCU ecosystem. The work that we did with the National Telecommunication and Information Administration actually brought $10 billion to Virginia, about 2.8 million to BSU within the CMC pilot. We believe because of our power of our network, this Telium chip, and this unbelievable consortium, we're going to be able to develop research, applied research, experiential learning for the students, and actually jobs, which is the most important thing, through this huge, large network. That's what I got.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I have two things to say here. One is, whatever you have promised is on the record now. The other one is, as Henry Bogart in Casablanca said, I think this is the beginning of a new friendship. So let's keep this friendship prosper. Let's deliver. We don't have Bank of America. I think we'll disconnect in the meantime. So let's keep on going. Thank you very much all for coming. Real work is really ahead of us now. But before we go to the work, enjoy snacks, socialize, and we'll go in batches to the tours. Thank you very much again. Thank you. But definitely, gratitude goes to VCU leadership for supporting me, for supporting the initiative from the get-go. Thank you very much, Dr. Rao. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, our pros had to leave. Thank you very much, Dean Nazim. Thank you very much, all. Thank you very much, staff at VCU who helped us arrange everything. Thank you very much, my students. Thank you all.
We're interested in seeing a little.
No, I want to-
With a chip,
Sure.
a chip on it.
Need a seat.
There's on a back sheet on that. Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry.
Sorry about Dave.
Like to do a group photo before. So if you
No, I know, we've been.
Here, COVID as well, they were all at some super. Records. And Dave Freeman had to, is leaving to. So I live local, so I'm the executive. I have all of just the user experience. The CIO. Like,
know what?
no. Guys, there, so I have a lot.
Let me put this down and pretty, really glad you're here.
No, I think it's.
Think of me. This is just, it's like the economic or the executive director for.
Interrupt, trying to do it, but I also want to make your way that way.
All right. So work with all miter, the national lab,
Yeah, the food.
cyber labs of the national lab. Work with ARPA, research information. Facilities, business hub. To bring the consortium and make. So you have great ideas. Research. These are great. Sure. Right. You need government grants to make that happen.
Yes.
So I march it through that whole process and then I turn it into a startup.
Oh.
And then I turn it into a consultant. Part of it is understanding the requirements of factors, defense and intelligence.
Yep.
And then matchmaking over and then
Each turning wrenches. Oh, no, there he is.
Let's go check.
Awesome. That's very cool.
Hey, I forgot to give you.
don't worry about it. We'll do it after the tour.
Superintendent.
I haven't seen her.
Well, we started talking there about a month.
You want me to?
Sure.
That's what
You're okay with that?
No one stop. Nobody else. Sound bad, but I.
Sure.
Right, I'll follow up.
Yeah, let's.
Are you going to take a picture?
Take a photo if you want. Oh, this way.
I'll just start moving towards.
Tell us how
Wishes.
Felix, you gotta come in. Inside of this right there.
Gotta be here.
We're seeing a little more.
Yeah, you can turn sideways slightly.
Think about it as a big Virginia cup.
My grandfather, he stood still and said nothing during pictures.
All right, everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, and if we can do, before everyone leaves, if we can do one of university partners and then one of industry partners, so. We'll start with university of industry folks. So start with university folks, and everyone gives a little.
Okay, that's it.
Means we get, we're really not industry, we're really not academia either.
I'm gonna sit in on the industry one. I'm gonna self-identify that.
Thank you. We'll drop out. Folks, come on.
What did you?
Yeah, we're.
Not gonna take. I think it helps get back to. Around that.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah. Same here. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, please.
This is you.
Industry and government.
Executive Director for Experience and Engagement. I do. Help desk.
I try to.
Now ITSM platform. And run Innovation Campus and First Center.
For ABPM.
Dean's equivalent at UB.
Okay, okay.
Ironically, we were in Minnesota and he was in North Dakota before that.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get to like.
Awesome. I lived in and it was like, oh, as I switched locations, this is like an ideal place for me. So. Sunday night, I got a text out the Grace message or an email that was like, hey, so what are you doing on Friday? I'm like,
Good job, still covering it.
exactly. Relationship management, so this is more relationship building.
Focus more on sometimes.
Oh, I guess.
And I expected to see Dave here. Those are the things I go to, he's that.
Take it.
Yeah, okay.
Periodically.
Phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. CIO. Yeah. A lot of appreciation. Other than our federal backbone, that kind of government was so makes it really. Like that.
It's not going well.
A lot of work with him on cybersecurity. Annual thing and. He's pretty. Tough, right? He has such a passion for the site. He really does.
As in.
Are you gonna search for the CIO or selected?
Reason why we got.
That's interesting because we see a lot of.
Returns to do. Innovative things.
We got him into banking, so.
He does do months.
That's one of our wholly owned subsidiaries. We do
What did you see? Did you work?
so. It's in Fredericksburg. My wife used to be some guy. I mean, I lived in Texas for many, many years, but that's 2 years ago. And 50 come down. Outsourced.
No, it was.
We insourced it. So it's kind of a long, story. I apologize. I'll just complete it.
Fine.
Yeah, we met at, when were you there? Yeah.
Stayed a year.
Stayed in here in justice, so literally, yeah. That was a very.
It's huge. Many different.
Kind of right. But I'm gonna send you a note like that request.
I think the guys get the guys.
Go away or stay local.
For you, you're in Richmond.
Oh, I am.
So.
Same way.
Yeah, my wife. I've been there. I left Chester when I've been there for like 10 years now. You're kidding me. I live off 17. That's
So projects.
yeah.
Family moved to the CIO, but when.
It's in your.
Oh, wow. It's changed quite a bit. It's a wow. Now. I mean, it was wonderful. Yeah, well, I live on 3.
Well, yeah.
At the wrong time.
So. I know.
Action.
It's
not a one, it's not, it's not. It's government, but I haven't. And it's separate. I'm an ACD member.
Pretty amazing. It is.
That is so long.
I just sent your book. If I can just.
Oh, they're out there in the street. I would love to. Get on the. Right in reverse. New picture page.
Right.
I know. I mean, it's up to you guys. There it is. It's already together.
Yes. Yeah, because. So, what about like? They on their body. One band around them or. There's also, it's like, there are some like.
Mobile, yeah. Yeah. I guess, and people now, it's on us.
Yeah.
To do with them. Found out.
Yes, yes.
I think that's.
You know, but. There was no nice who brought me. I don't know that one, but.
Guys, for keeping them, right? So. Has data center.
Sounds like an opportunity for doing other.
So colleges.
High.
Yes, actually, a little bit something. Basically.
Much complicated.
But I'm here.
I mean, or, yeah.
I know you love this.
I did not write
Need to say something.
I was recording this. Yeah, it's reasonable time to present.
And I'm so glad.
Yeah, it actually is good. Yeah. It's and their families.
Exactly. And come back with a better experience.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with.
Stop the bomb.
Time. I met him. They must have been like.
Really interesting now.
No, I didn't.
Something.
I must have met him like
Did a
4 years ago, and I still maybe not.
search study with amendments and searching. Quite fascinating. Yeah. Totally fun.
Serve on for the this community with it. Oh, yeah. Now, I just want you to know. I have the honor.
What you did, and I did. He was a close friend.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and, you know, we won the RK well because our focus was to go back and because there's so much land about it's for well. Come to
Everything I had.
What?
Circulate them, right. We work on foundation.
Okay.
Your foundation.
The Virginia State.
Yes, yes. Remind me, we were at the dinner.
Williamson. Even before.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And so you I was Chandra.
And one of the.
Chandra, okay, yeah. Okay, so you're activating capital and running. I have a
No.
Yay.
Always been a problem. Foundation.
Gather. All right.
Not to be an investor. So now everybody consider that one as actually a open space.
Eric is here. Eric is representing QTS and we worked with Eric from the get-go on getting hosting going. Eric has a few slides and then we'll do tours in batches. So I'll leave you with Eric and
Well, thanks, everyone for coming today. Obviously, this is not my show, but I do appreciate everybody coming and joining and taking a moment to kind of to hear about QTS, who we are, and why this new team has chosen us to host the CCAC environment here. Obviously, we're very excited to be a part of this partaking in. And if there's anything we can do to support you guys that you're going along the way, obviously we're going to make ourselves available to do that. So again, my name is Eric Dorr. I am one of the account executives here at QTS, and I have the lovely responsibility of working with our education and government customers. So that's why I am in the room today. So
on the laptop.
Oh, on the laptop, yeah, okay. So just a quick kind of overview of who QTS is in case you're not familiar. First of all, who is familiar with QTS? Anybody here know about us before you walked into this? Yeah. Oh, that's good. So we are a large data center company, right? So we own and operate large data centers across the country. We've got about 28 data centers across the United States today. We're in one of our larger data centers, but for the most part, centers are of this size and scale. Again, owner operator of data centers, also build large ecosystems of interconnection points in these data centers so that our customers have a variety of ways to get out to the world to communicate as they need for their purposes. So we support a variety of different customers, whether it's large hyperscalers, we're talking the cloud providers of the world who might be taking down entire buildings, having us build buildings directly and their whole use. But then we're also working with small and medium-sized businesses and also some larger 1,000 companies. So anything from a single cabinet of equipment all the way up to entire data centers, that a variety of different customers. That also includes, as I pointed out, government entities. So we have large federal customers who are customers of ours, but we also work with the state and local government and education customers as well. So that's generally kind of who we are. We've been around for about 20 plus years now. We were recently acquired by a company called Blackstone. You're probably familiar with them. You probably all own them in a portfolio of some sort. So in a way, you own part of QTS probably. But we were acquired last year. That acquisition was completed with a $10 billion acquisition at the time. It was the largest data center acquisition to take place. So we're pretty proud of that. They put us in what they call their perpetual fund, which essentially says typically you get some of these large investor companies like that. They pump up with value and then they sell you off. We're in one of their what they call their perpetual fund. So they have no interest in selling us. They want to do nothing more than support our ability to grow by injecting us with a lot of available capital. So that's what you're seeing a lot of probably construction even on this campus. A lot of that funding has come from that. You're going to hear a lot of this probably on the tour, but just kind of general overview. 1.3 million square foot facility. Right now, several 100,000 square foot of that is raised floor, which we're going to go out and see, which is the space itself. but we also have a lot of leasable office space. You may have heard this was called semiconductor chip production facility. So when we acquired this, I don't know what it was, I think 10 or 12 years ago, now. That's what this building was built for. So at the time, there was thousands of people that worked in the building for parking lot and all the available office space. As a data center company, as you can imagine, we don't need thousands of people to operate this building. So we have lots of available office space. For the rest of the history of this building. And again, multiple buildings going up on this. One of the unique things I think that makes QTS unique in this particular market is the interconnection ecosystem that we have here. So pretty much any carrier or provider that you want to work with or partner with for your connectivity need is actually on net here at this building. And something that we've really been focusing on is building out this ecosystem so that folks don't have to go up to Ashburn, which is what used to happen, right? If you were in this market, you had to connect all the way up to Ashburn to go out to wherever it was you wanted to go. You don't have to do that any longer. You can get this building and you can get pretty much anywhere you want. Another thing that really stands out, well, one thing I want to touch on. Exchanges that are here in this particular building. Quick story, another university customer of ours here in Virginia came on board with us and they were trying to figure out how to get the Netflix bandwidth usage off their campus network. It was just completely draining their campus network, taking down everything, slowing down everything from point of sale systems and everything that uses network connectivity across the campus. So that wasn't why they chose it. But after they did come on board with us, we started having these type of conversations. One of the things they brought up was, hey, yeah, they need which our campus network. He introduced them to our local exchanges that's here on the. That is actually a very interesting story. They actually went and reached out to Netflix directly, which I don't know how they even made that phone call, but they got a hold of Netflix directly. Netflix actually put a node in their internet exchange. We were able to completely offload all of that Netflix traffic directly through that internet exchange to a Netflix node. So they got that off, and I went back to that customer months after getting that done. They were beside themselves with excitement how much it is connectivity. Those types of things we're able to help solve for, which is kind of beyond the standard colo offering. But we like to make those types of solutions available to our customers, and it does have an impact on how they work with us and how they work. Another thing that's really unique about this particular building is the NAP, so the network access point that we have here. So we are the first place that you can jump on any of the subsea cables that land in Virginia Beach. Those are terminated here in this building, which makes us the first place that you can get onto those subsea cables. So the Maria, the Brusa, I think there's one other, I'm failing on it now. But actually I think there's two others. But those are very large subsea cables, so connecting to Europe or connecting to South America, to Brazil and to the South American market. The fastest way to get there is by having an access point here in this building. So if you wanted to jump on those cables, come to this building, and that's the first place you can do that. They said, I think the entire Library of Congress can be sent the data that they hold over that cable that goes to Europe, that lands in Spain. I think you can do that in milliseconds. It's incredible how thick and how fast those connections are. But again, those are terminated in this building. Another thing that's important, I think, for all of us is focus on sustainability. So QTS is a very big focus on sustainability. We recognize that we are a big consumer of electricity, and there's obviously a big carbon footprint and offset that's associated with the power that we have to consume for our clients. So we take a very big on sustainability, considering renewable sources for setting the energy consumption that we make, but also taking things like LEED Gold certification, Energy Star certifications, things of that nature, so that we're making sure that we're building our buildings in the most efficient and sustainable way possible. So in this particular building, we're certified. We also have solar panels. You may have seen those out in the parking lot. We do a lot of rainwater collection. Obviously, we're not, we're not pulling equipment or anything with this, but the idea is there are ways that we are utilizing these renewable sources and kind of putting some of that stuff back onto the grid for use. So, and then we've got to electric vehicle there's charging stations. We actually have a commitment to put that, I think, at 75% of our data centers by the year 2025. Charging stations at all of our data centers. So you can come and visit us at your electrical vehicle. Generally, that's QTS. That's who